Alright, it's been over 2 years since I last made a video about a movie. If you remember my video about cats, you deserve a veteran's discount. So, anyway, today the topic is not just a generic movie, it's actually one very related to the channel. The Sonic 2 movie. Fuck. I mean, it's honestly unreal how this movie came to be, how it feels. Let me okay. So there's only I won't give you a history lesson. Do you remember what happened with the first Sonic movie when they replaced that fucking horrendous Sonic model, and in the end, well, they changed it because it seemed like whoever is behind this movie is listening to fans. At least that's the impression I got. Maybe it was they changed the model because it was better marketing. Hard to say, but the bottom line is they did at least something that made fans happy. The end result, the Sonic 1 movie is honestly very basic, you know? It's a road trip with this mascot and a human being, and that it was fine. I honestly like the Sonic movie, the first one. It's nothing spectacular, nothing incredible, but it was a really fun time. I can tie it with Detective Pikachu because I also liked the movie, and so that's a compliment. That's a compliment. It was a solid movie, simple as that. But Sonic 2, it's like shit. Oh my god, I don't even know where to start. I think that Sonic 2's biggest strength is that it's not just a generic movie with the Sonic characters slapped on it. I mean, like, sure, the characters and many elements of Sonic are there, but it's not a rehash or something generic. It's its own story with its own contained lore, and it's honestly doing an effort to do something different. And I think that's one of the movie's biggest strengths, because while it's trying to be different, at the same time, it's not, how do I put this? It doesn't stray far away from what we already know about Sonic. For example, you have, a small spoiler, you have the Master Emerald, and that's been a thing in the games for a very, very long time. And there's a few differences in lore in and there, but in context of the movie, I think they work incredibly well. And nothing about it comes as pulled out of the ass because they explain things to you beforehand. So that's a huge strength I think the movie has. As a plot, it's nothing too spectacular, you could say, but I give it the credit because it was very self-aware, it was simple to understand, it wasn't trying to be anything more, but again, it never lost that Sonic identity, and that's where I wanna go next. The characters were so funny, because I'm gonna get this quickly out of the way. When you watch this type of movies, naturally you care about the characters the movie is named after. In this universe, of course, you have your humans and everything, and they're fine. Honestly, they are there mostly for comedic purposes, and maybe aside from one scene, I don't think anybody overstays its welcome. And the actual, this might be controversial, I don't know, but the only time I felt it was dragging on for too long with these other human characters, I actually laughed. I thought it was so fucking stupid, but it was so self-aware and it made me laugh. But the main dish, when the movie gets to those Sonic characters we know and love, it's so fucking good. It's genuinely good. Sonic, I mean, he's not more on Sonic than we knew him the last time. It's him. He has that attitude, that snark, that personality that made him so appealing to many kids, many teenagers, adults. And I actually believe they crank it up here. Maybe sometimes in good and bad ways, but more on that later. Tails was, as you will expect, he was a bit cowardly, but he was a good meaning fellow who builds his own gadgets, and that was so well implemented in the movie. But dare I say, okay, another small spoiler. In this movie, Tails and Sonic had just met. But dare I say that at times, Tails seemed to be a bit too passionate about Sonic, like maybe too much. there's a difference here because I watched here in Mexico. The movie is in Latin American, in Spanish, Latin American Spanish, but more on that later. But I feel that whoever did Tails' voice in this movie was really, it had a different direction about how Tails feels about Sonic, and you had scenes about, oh, only Sonic the Hedgehog will do something like that, and at times I was like, sure. Jim Carrey as Eggman, as usual, I thought he was incredibly iconic, very funny and menacing when he needed to be. And he was so much better in this movie. And I'm not talking about the outfit because he's now bald and the mustache is more like the way we know it. I think that Jim Carrey was even better, and that was a high bar. I like his performance in the first movie. He helped to carry a good chunk of it. And now he was just doing more, delivering more, very funny jokes, much more movement, much more passion. That's the word I wanted to find. He was more passionate and more familiar about the character of Eggman. Of course, it's not of one-on-one the same, but I like this direction. Since it's a movie for kids, he has to be more comedic. But I like that Eggman never loses that touch that makes him recognizable in the video games. And he's still very iconic and is menacing when he needs to be, and that's of course that's the sign of a good villain. He did an excellent job. But my favorite part, my absolute favorite character in the game was Knuckles, and that shouldn't be a surprise because Knuckles has always been one of my favorite Sonic characters. That has been the case for years. But in the movie, it made me so happy because you know that SEGA is kinda weird nowadays with how it handles its characters. Shadow in the IDW comics, just to set an example. So I was fearing that Knuckles will be just that, a knucklehead, like in Sonic Boom. This guy with huge muscles, of course he's incredibly funny, but that's his whole personality. He's stupid and he's funny. And the movie captured so well what makes Knuckles so iconic? What's the appeal of the character? He's the last of his kind. He's very prideful. He's dutiful. But how do I put it? The Knuckles in the movie had all of that. Had all of the qualities that define Knuckles, but dare I say that at times he was very cute? It may sound weird, but I think the movie's strongest point was how they represented Knuckles' character. There was everything, but he was also naive. He was a bit innocent, but at times he was a bit, for example, you could say, he will think twice about what he had to do because he grew up alone. And so those moments where he thinks about, friendships and such, working with Eggman, those were highlights for me, and I love that about the movie. So, just another quick thing I want to add. Again, I watched this movie in Spanish because when it comes for movies for kids, on movies for kids, it's always Spanish. We rarely get the option to watch it in English. But, just a quick thing. I already mentioned Tails. Jim Carrey, he's played by Mario Castañeda. And if you don't know him because you don't live in Mexico, he's Goku's Mexican voice actor. To give you the short story, he's one of the most iconic voice actors in all of Mexico. In Latin America in general, because he's Goku. He's fucking Goku. With Eggman, he fucking killed it. Sonic, this was weird. He's voiced by a fucking, what's he called? A Mexican celebrity, an influencer. Luisito Comunica. The first time I was on the edge about him, but honestly surprisingly, he did a very good job with Sonic in the first movie. There were a few occasions where it was like, oh, I can clearly tell it's this guy, and again, he was much better in this movie. And the Knuckles voice actor, perfect, immaculate. I mean, he captured the essence of the character so well. When I got out of the movie theater, I was thinking, if Sonic Frontiers, but for some miracle, gets a Latin American dub, this guy has to voice Knuckles. He was perfect for the role. So yeah, when it comes to story and the characters, I was incredibly satisfied, but it didn't stop there. didn't fucking stop there. You see, when you go watch a movie about a video game, you want to know how well they will represent that universe you're a fan of. When I watched Detective Pikachu, my eye was always trying to identify Gen 5, give me anything about Unova, and even the slightest reference had me like, yeah. And so the Sonic 2 movie replicated that. The smallest details, every corner. I went with two friends, two great friends who te quiero mucho. And there were so many occasions where I will see a reference and I will go like, and they will just go like, what happened? And you know what was the thing that happened? There was a helicopter that had the letters SA2, and I was like, that's so fucking, it's obviously Sonic Adventure 2, a reference. But it's so subtle, but I identified it and I was losing my mind. Another one, and this is a slight spoiler, but again, the movie was in Spanish. And of course, not all the jokes were carried over. Not all the jokes are 100% accurate to English. But they did a good job to translate them well. But others are completely lost in the translation and you cannot identify them if you don't know anything or much about Sonic. There was this one, the Eggman henchman, is he called Rock in English? I'm not sure, but he had a cafe. And in Spanish he said something like El frijol malo, something like that, the evil bean. And I was like, oh, that's a weird name. But then you see the text in English and it says Min Bean, and I was like, Joe, no way! And that was the thing. And I don't even want to reduce that feeling to just the references. The whole movie felt like a love letter for Sonic fans. Just to put a comparison, imagine the first movie, like the first Sonic game. You play it, it's fun, you have a good time, and it's like, yeah, I like this game. And that's how I feel about the movie. But then comes Sonic 2, the video game, and it fucking blew everyone away. Even Nintendo was like, oh shit, we actually have a match this time. And because the game was genuinely that fucking good. Sonic 2 is a masterpiece. And the movie replicated that feeling. When you watch Sonic 1 and then go to Sonic 2, the movie, you realize the improvements on everything. Sure, you have Tails now, but you also have Knuckles. But the scope feels larger, the world feels more fun, more entertaining. And I think that's what made me love this movie so much as I did. Because, let's be honest, okay, if we talk objectively, no, the movie's fun, the movie is great, incredibly good. There's no doubt that kids got a kick out of it. It's, of course, mostly aimed for that. In fact, my only complaint is that because it is a kids movie, it had, at times, its toilet humor, you know, like, oh no, I'm farting. Yeah, that was bad. And I don't want to point fingers at the Fortnite dance because that was actually funny. Actually, yeah, another mini spoiler. There was a scene where Eggman does the floss, and when he did that, some grown-ass men behind us were like, oh, and I'm like, come on, dude, it's a kids movie, and hating Fortnite stopped being popular since 2018, so yeah, you're a bit behind that. And again, it's a kids movie. I complain a bit about the toilet humor, but it was nothing that made me say, oh, just a minor inconvenience. And so where was I? Yeah, okay. The movie is fine, of course, it's aimed for kids, but it's honestly a fun, great time. But if you watch it as a Sonic fan, you will fucking fanboy like you have no idea. You will lose your shit. I can tell you, this was mostly social pressure. So many times I wanted to scream because the references, the passion, the post-credit scene, the fucking post-credit scene. Oh my god, this movie was so insane. I'm not one to rewatch movies as soon as I finish with them, but Sonic 2 was one that I said, I want to watch it again. Maybe in English to add a bit more variety to it, but Sonic movie was something that I honestly had high hopes since the beginning, because when it comes to games and movies, Normally, I tend to avoid as many trailers as possible, you know, so when they release, everything can be a surprise. But with the Sonic 2 movie, I actually watch almost every single trailer because when I saw the first one, it looked so promising and it just continued to escalate. It made me think, wow, whoever is making that really cares about Sonic. And the movie did not disappoint. It lived up to the hype and then some. Again, I recommend you to watch it if you're a big Sonic fan, but let's be honest, if that's the case, you probably already watched it. But oh, it's so good. It feels in a way to how I felt with Sonic Mania. You know, it was made by Sonic fans for Sonic fans, and it really shows in everything, in fucking everything. What else can I say after that? Actually, I feel, yeah, I think I got a bit too overhyped, but that speaks lengths. That speaks lengths. Easily, just to end this video. Sonic 2, the movie, is easily the best video game movie ever made. By far. Bar no competition. If we talk about live action, Sonic 2 movie is where the money's at. It's so fucking good. So, if you're interested, give it a watch. If you're a Sonic fan, then and you still haven't, I don't know what else to tell you. Go fucking watch it. It's really good. Anyway, thank you for watching this take on a quick shelf on a movie. That's a new concept for this channel. I plan to expand this more to video games. Like recently I played Judgment, so yeah, it's also SEGA property, so it's related to this video. But let's see how this goes. Thank you once again for your time and have a wonderful day. Take care, everyone.